Oh boy, we are in big trouble.
So I've been around the internet for a couple decades, and I've seen communities pop up. And they used to be tech communities and cyber geeks and cyber hackers and those kind of things. And since about the last 10 years, I've seen the truth community and the liberty community, the religious community, and different groups of people trying to explain what's going on with our world these days. It seems pretty crazy out there, and it seems pretty destructive and violent, and so they're all doing research to figure this out, which I think is a good thing. They've stumbled onto secret societies, the Illuminati, the controllers, whatever you want to call them, and have found a bunch of neat, interesting things that they've done to manipulate society to their betterment. Like the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946, the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, the 14th Amendment, 15th, 16th, 17th Amendments, not ratified lawfully, but allegedly legally, but it's set the course so they and their people can benefit. And it's a relatively small group of people compared to humanity. Some people call them psychopaths. Some people call them reptilians or whatever they call them. But last week, or this week, I had some different corrupt things happen with my customers, which is unusual given what I do and how very few problems I ever have. So it got me to wondering about why now, and I started thinking about the difference between what's going on in the world and what's going on an individual basis. And what I'm coming up with, it's not much different. The scale is completely different, and the outcomes are different, but the motives behind them seem to be the same. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. So you can call them the Illuminati or the pyramid or whatever you want to call them, the politicians. They will orchestrate a war through lies and manipulation, but a regular man will orchestrate a hostile business takeover through lies and manipulation. They'll short a stock and then they'll go buy it. And whereas the war kills and displaces tens of thousands of people and it looks really bloody and gruesome, that cheated business takeover, when people lose jobs, it disrupts their life almost as much without the death part of it. So for me, when I see that, I see where the motives between the person doing the war or the person doing the hostile business takeover is no different. The Illuminati will maybe cheat or control an election to get somebody in there. A regular person will lie on a resume or lie in social media. So the election is designed, the cheat is to get the person in they want based on falsehoods. A lie on a resume is to get a job based on falsehoods, and to lie on social media is probably to get people to like you or to make money on YouTube or whatever it is. But again, the darkness in the human heart, or the human mind more accurately, the human mind, seems to be coming from the same place. The controllers will crash an economy or manipulate a currency, causing shortages and scarcity, possible violence. A regular person may not turn in a wallet they found full of money. So when you manipulate an economy, you cause people financial hardship. It causes their life hardship. Maybe they don't have food. If that wallet was the last person's source of income or resources, and they had to go try to buy food for their baby and it wasn't turned in, and the person didn't get it back, same hardship, same motive, same outcome. The Illuminati will try to control citizens through propaganda, which they do a pretty good job of. Regular people will control their spouse, their child, their friends through manipulation. Whether you make a kid get a reward to do something, or you cause a society to believe something that's fake to get their money to go to war, whatever it is, again, motives are the same. The place it's coming from in the human mind is the same, it seems. So I don't see a whole lot of difference. The controllers will take your money through taxes. I've seen people cheat corporations through fraudulent coupons, through, if the price is mismarked, they always want the lower price. They won't fess up and say, well, yeah, that should be the regular price, I have to pay that. And so that part of our minds that immediately go to lack of morality, lack of ethics, lack of truth, trying to save ourselves, personally I think is fear-based, but I also think it's not any different than what's happening to us. And the reason I bring this up, if we're going to change this at all, we need to start with ourselves. And I don't think it's the man in the mirror, it's Do you want to be a moral person, have a moral society, or do you not? And if you don't complain about what the controllers do, because they're operating from the same mental motives, it appears, as a lot or most regular people operate. People complain that the controllers always put their family in places of business, or they will the corporation to their family, and they're trying to set their kids up, and they're trying to do a 100-year plan for their families. Well, regular people usually have a will for their kids to try to give them stuff. They may not set it up the same way because they may not have the capacity to, and they certainly don't have the power and wealth to. So I think when we're drawing these distinctions between who's doing what to us and what we're doing to other people, I think we need to be really brutally honest and understand that if we're ever going to break this cycle or chain, we have to go into our minds and get all this poison out. And there are lots of good books to do that. Don Juan Matus, Carlos Castaneda. I'm going to pull up a Castaneda quote here real quick and read it, and then we'll be done. I appreciate if you listen. For the 4 people that may get this, if you want to leave a comment, do. But thanks again. This is from Carlos Castaneda's The Active Side of Infinity. He's speaking to his student about what's going on with not only the students compared to the sorcerers. And he says, I want to appeal to your analytical mind. Think for a moment and tell me, how would you explain the contradiction between the intelligence of man the engineer and the stupidity of his systems of beliefs, or the stupidity of his contradictory behavior? Sorcerers believe that the predators have given us our systems of belief, our ideas of good and evil, and social mores. There are ones who set up our hopes and expectations and dreams of success or failure. They have given us covetousness, greed, and cowardice. It is the predators who make us complacent, routinary, and egomaniacal. In order to keep us obedient and meek and weak, the predators engage themselves in a stupendous maneuver. Stupendous, of course, from the point of view of a fighting strategist. A horrendous maneuver from the point of view of those who suffer it. They gave us their mind. Do you hear me? The predators gave us their mind, which becomes our mind. The predator's mind is baroque, contradictory, morose, filled with the fear of being discovered any minute now. So when we have that poison in our mind that we were talking about earlier, it's not because God put it there. It's not because it's human nature. If you're a modern human, it's through your media, particularly television, movies, music, books. Those bestseller books are usually capturing your mind. And I think this is something to consider, especially if you ever want liberty for yourself, for humanity, or for the rest of us. So how do we fix it? Your guess is as good as mine. If you have any ideas, please tell me. All right, thanks for listening.